Welcome to this edition of Backstage Pass with Lia Chang. I'm your host, Lia Chang. Today, I'll be featuring interviews with James Chen, who is starring in KCRep's production of Cyrano, directed by Nelson T. Eusebio III. I am so excited to be in Kansas City, Missouri for the opening night performance of Cyrano at KCRep, directed by Nelson T. Eusebio III and starring James Chen as the first Asian American to play Cyrano in a regional production, and even more thrilled and delighted that he agreed to get up this morning at an ungodly hour and sit with me and tell me about the show. James!
Hey.
But now you have had your coffee, and we had this incredible smoked brisket hash that I'm still working on. Delightful. But what does it feel like? It's opening night. Are you ready?
You know, we're as ready as we'll ever be. We worked pretty hard in the rehearsal room. We've had a great time in tech and collaborating with the designers and each other as castmates. We've had our 3 previews. We're ready. We're ready.
Now, you saw the production originally at BAM with James T. McAvoy.
I did.
So you had a leg up, if you will, with regards to knowing about this particular adaptation. What's Nelson's concept in terms of having an Asian American star in it and having an Asian American direct it, but more importantly, there are some key differences from what people would traditionally think about Cyrano?
Yeah, traditionally, I mean, textually, from the original, so this is like a relatively new adaptation of the Rostand play. This adaptation came out in 2019 by Martin Crimp. But traditionally, yeah, and textually, Cyrano was born with a freakishly long nose that has given him an insane complex. He's been ostracized by society. He's an extremely passionate individual, an amazing swords fighter, and just feels that he is incurably unlovable because of his physical deformity. In this production, we're not using a prosthetic for a nose that most productions do when they do the traditional adaptation, but in this one we are making a commentary on what it means to be an Asian American male in society, that it is in its own way a physical deformity based off of the kind of prejudice that has been put upon and foisted upon Asian men against their will. The 150 plus years of essentially like racism against Asian men, and if you want to look at how we are in modern times, like Asian men, black women are the least statistically desirable group in dating apps, if you wanted to even quantify it there. So there is a through line from Chinese Exclusion Act, miscegenation laws of the 1800s, all the way through to the way that Asian men are depicted in movies as one-dimensional sidekicks, desexualized, effeminate. So this is a great opportunity to shed light on the fact that as an Asian man, Cyrano is a perfect kind of template to show that same struggle, because it is Asian men deal with the same thing that Cyrano deals with, this identity of feeling like the world is against us and being unworthy of love because of all the signals out there.
So the first thing that came to me in the callbacks was we had a couple of different South Asian and very good-looking Asian men audition, but they all acted like they were good-looking and they knew it.
I hate those kind.
I might have been one of those kind for a brief period of my life when I still felt like I had those looks. Now I'm, but I realized that is what Cyrano and who Cyrano is whether other people perceive him to have a nose or to be good looking or to be worthy of love, he does not perceive himself that way. And so whether James Chen is good looking or he's not good looking is almost besides the point. The point is that Cyrano, played by James Chen, does not believe that he is good looking enough or worthy enough of Roxane's love. It also helps that Christopher Rivas is a little taller and just as equally beautiful as James Chen.
So let's tell audiences why they need to come see this production of Cyrano, which plays until September 24th at the Spencer Theater.
Great. People need to come out and see this work because it's beautiful acting, gorgeous fighting. The fighting is a fusion of Western and Eastern traditions, wuxia Chinese films, and old boy, plus rapiers like you expect from a swashbuckling Cyrano. The language is being delivered in a fresh and exciting way. This is the first American theater-produced version of the Martin Crimp adaptation, and it is beautiful, fun, fresh, literary, and brings the contemporary sensibility of where we are now and ideas about gender and ideas about class to the values that are held up in Crimp's script. So all of that said, for all of those reasons, but the design is gorgeous, and it is a great time at the theater. We give you everything. We give you romance. We give you sword fights. We give you singing. We give you big battles, and we give you heartbreak. It's a good night at the theater.
Yes, it is.
Nighttime, picture me down by the river. Make the fight begin. Leans the elephant. I'm facing over 100 men.
It's all good. Hi, Lia. See you.
Fucking murdering. How you feeling? Okay. Okay, good. Yeah. Let's smile and take a picture. Congrats, brother.
Thank you and congratulations to my friend, my colleague, the artist Nelson Eusebio III. You think about the things that you lack as a leader and the things that might be a compelling foil to the way that you lead and the types of work that you direct and are mostly inspired by. And when Nelson and I were in conversation, there were so many things that really revealed themselves in those conversations about classic work and the intentionality with which he thinks about classic work that brings a multi-identity but lived experience approach to thinking about character and relationships and dynamics and world building. And those were things that I wanted to be a part of Kansas City Rep's future.
It was a bucket list play for me. And so as we've embarked on this journey, the biggest thing to me was not just what we would do with it, because I kind of knew what that would be, and when we got the gift of the Crimp translation, that was huge. And I read that, and I knew instantly what we were gonna try and do with it. But then the real question became, who is Cyrano? Our Cyrano became James Chen. When you're doing this play, you start out and you think, it's gonna be this, and they gotta fight, and they gotta be angry, and they, especially if you're thinking about how you're gonna use the nose as a metaphor for the Asian American male experience in this country, it's super clear, and why James became part of the choice is because he could do the humor. One of the earliest casting choices we made was casting Jimmy Kiefer as De Guiche.
Of course.
And once you have the Jimmy as your De Guiche, that means De Guiche is going to be funny. He's going to be evil, but people are going to like him because that's who Jimmy Kiefer is on stage. That means your Cyrano has to be incredibly charismatic. It also means that your Roxane has to be a straight up baller. In this script, she's got to rip people's hearts out. She's got to be show-stoppingly gorgeous. And we were so, so blessed to get Ito with us. Woo! And then magically in the callbacks with Jay-Z, we found Christopher Rivas. I remember thinking this on day one of rehearsal when we showed the film about Yellowface and just setting the standard for the emotional vulnerability that we as BIPOC artists were going to have to bring to this. At a PWI, that is KCRep. I've been here for 2 years. I'm very proud of the work that we do here, and I'm very proud to work with many of you. But we are not always ready for the smoke that the BIPOC artists can bring. And so one of my missions was to make sure that we were ready for this, because it was going to require a level of emotional vulnerability that I don't often exercise with my colleagues here. And so I'm very proud that we as an organization were able to grow and support this work. So that is a big credit, not just to our staff, but to Stuart's leadership, to all of the anti-racist training that we've gone through, and quite frankly, to the level of emotional vulnerability that we established in the room. From day one, we had the hard, difficult conversations. We talked about how we've been harmed in different situations, and that helped bind us together, helped us create a stronger bond as a company. And it meant when it was time to put it on the line, there wasn't an ounce of fear of doing the work. Tonight is a great night, and I'm happy to celebrate it. But we made American theater history tonight. That doesn't happen every opening. Yeah. So congratulations to all of you who helped make that happen. I'm incredibly, incredibly grateful that not only did we deliver on the promise that we made to each other, but I'm incredibly grateful that we're taking that promise to our audiences here in Kansas City. I'm excited to see what that conversation brings to us.
This production of KCRep's Cyrano, I was blown away by it. And I really recommend that you come see it. It was everything.
Thank you, friend.
Thank you for joining me for this edition of Backstage Pass with Lia Chang. Until next time.